All right, this is it, guys. The last one. The van. I've got, of course, Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. I've got white. This one is Graybeard. Calls for a 5.5 millimeter hook. Of course, for stuffies, I like it tight, so I'm going to use a 5 millimeter. Let's do this. So I'm going to start with a magic circle and 6 stitches, and then I'm going to make a flat circle, increasing 6 stitches every row, staggering the increase. So basically just make a flat circle, and I will let you know how many rows. Alright, quick change of plans. So I was going to do all of the white pieces and work out any issues that I might have, and then do the gray side and film it and then sew them together. However, if I sew it down the middle, I'm afraid that as this gets hugged and squeezed and squished, this might create a pucker. So I'm going to catch you up real quick on what I've done so far. I'm just going to work from side to side. So, haven't done much, so don't be worried about that. I started with a magic circle with 6 stitches, and then I increased 6 stitches each row, and I did stagger the increases so that it came out more circular. And I did that for 11 rows. So increase every stitch. This was the beginning. 6 stitches every row for 11 rows. Took me to here. I like to just put my thread in and out across to mark rows. So on the 12th row, you're going to start doing increase only every other row. So increase every row up to 11. The 12th row, no increase. Just go around. 13, increase 6. 14, no increase. Continue that way until you have 17 rows done, which will put you right here. Now, after your 17th row is done, you are going to do 3 rows with no increases at all. 1, 2, 3, just go right around. After you have those 3 rows done, this is the beginning of my row. I came over a little bit, picked a point, I picked 2 stitches right next to each other, and I increased 2 stitches. So I did this stitch, I did 1, 2 here, and then 1, 2 here. And then you're going to do that every row. You're going to pick those middle 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that is going to create this point here. So I kept doing that until I had 29 rows. I actually passed this again and came directly across from the point. So 29 and a half rows are where I'm at now. So I have the point, the top of the head here. I'm down here. This is where I'm going to change color so that it's covered by the body. So now I'm going to do the same thing backwards. I'm going to do, let's see, the 9 rows of this and bring it back down. I will decrease. So I'll knit these 2 together. Sorry, stitch these 2 together and these 2 together. So it's decreasing 2 every row. I'm going to take these 2 and just tie them together. So you can see I'm right here up at the top. You can see the 2 that I increased last time. So now I'm going to decrease. So I'm just going to stitch those 2 together. And then I'm going to stitch these 2 together. Here we go. You can see it's pulling in already. And then no other change. Go around, get back up to here, and do the same thing next row. Alright, so I've just finished. I believe it was 11 rows total increase, so I did 11 rows total decrease, I have the little point. And you can see right here is where I am. My hook fell out. So I just finished the last decrease. So what I'm gonna do now is on the inside, I'm going to take this and I'm going to crochet rather tightly a circle like this, which is going to line up. So it'll be right around here, right around the base of his head point thing. And what that's gonna do, I'm gonna do it kind of tight to snug it so that once it's stuffed, it doesn't come out shaped like this. You know what I mean? That will keep that baseline. So I'm going to do this very carefully. I'm going to try to do these little back stitches here so that the gray that I'm using does not show up on the white. So I'm just going to go around like that. Okay, so I thought I'd pause real quick right here and show you. This was the side that I have not done yet, and this is the side that I have done. So I finished wrapping around this. And you can see I've just come back up and hopped back onto my row again. Back on there. So now I'm just going to do 3 rows around with no change. I have finished the 3 solid rows of no change. So now I'm going to start decreasing every other row for 6 rows. So it'll be decrease, no change, decrease, no change, decrease, no change. Okay, so all I have to do left now to close the head up is to decrease 6 stitches every row until I have 12 left and then close it up. However, we're going to stop here so that we can put the face. So I've got my black here. I'm going to take this on the inside and I'm just going to top stitch the face on. Nothing too complicated. So that's the face done. So now I'm going to secure all those loose ends inside. Also, I did do 2 rounds. Oh, I did like down and back, like this, so that they're double thickness lines. So I'll just secure everything inside so that nothing comes undone. And then I will stuff it. And like I said before, I will decrease 6 stitches every row until I'm down to 12 stitches and then close it up. Okay, so for the body, I had wanted to do it side to side, but I cannot in my head make it work in a way that I would be happy with the shape of it. So I am going to do top down for the body. The only problem I have with that is it might not be such a crisp line, but I think after the body's done, I will be able to rectify that. So I'm going to start at the back of the neck. So I'll start with the white and I'm just going to top stitch right through here, right around there. And I want it to be about this big, probably a 3-inch diameter circle. Okay, so I have that first part on. I did start with the gray. I don't know why I was thinking white. But there's that. So I've got the loop through here, ready to just pull this and finish this stitch. So this is where I'm going to switch to the white. That one. So I'm going to just pull this one through. Now I'm going to tuck this white one over inside. I will weave that in a couple rows. Now what I'm going to do for the white side is I'm going to stitch around the same way, but I'm going to stitch around the gray one as well and just carry that to the other side so that it will be here when I need to switch. So I'm going to go like that, but instead of just going through here, I'm also going to go under the gray one, do like this for the next stitch, that also under the gray, like this, and that will tuck that gray one right in there. And it might be slightly visible as I carry the two colors around each side, but I'm only carrying one color, so it shouldn't be too bad. And like I said, the shape of the body was more important to me than doing it side to side. Okay, so real quick here, you can see that I had this all on. I actually had quite a bit of this done, and it wasn't coming out the way I wanted, so I took it back, and I've made this go out further so that the base that I'm starting with the neck is quite a bit larger. It was over here. So I've top stitched the gray. I started on the back of the head, top stitched the gray around to the front, and I'm going to pick up the white, start with the white here, work around, and I'm going to carry the gray as I do the white. Alright, so I've paused to show you here. Because these stitches naturally lean towards the right as you go, I've had to go one stitch over with the color, because if I don't do that occasionally, it's going to go way off kilter. But like I said before, I think we can kind of straighten this up a little bit further on. So I just wanted to show you that all I did was do one gray stitch onto the white. So I have to make sure to do that one of the white onto the gray on the other side to make sure I have the same amount of stitches on both sides. And since I've paused, I'm also going to secure these two ends. So I've got my first circle here for the neck reattached. Like I said, I had to take it out and redo it. I've secured both my ends. In fact, we'll chop that tail off now. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've got the face here. I'm going to go around. I'm going to continue to carry this, and I'm going to pick these 4 points right here, and I'm going to increase 1 stitch in those 4 points. So I'm going to increase 4 stitches right there, just for a couple of rows, I think, and we'll see how far I want to go. Also, you want to make sure you have the same amount of gray stitches as white stitches. I have 25 of each color. I've only done 2 rows of the increasing 4. You can kind of see where those are. And now I'm going to switch to just no increases. I'm just going to work around and around and around and build the body. Okay, so I finished 16 total rows on the body here. It worked out to every 5 rows I moved over one, which gave it, kind of kept it lined up with this. So now what I'm going to do for 2 rows, so I'll do the front, this is the back center and the front center twice. I'm going to find the middle stitch. I'm going to treat this as the middle stitch. I'm going to make 3 stitches into this. So because this one's white, I'm going to do 2 white and then 1 gray, all into this center. So there's the first increase. We'll work around to the other side and do the next one. This one is gray, so I'm going to do 2 gray and 1 white, all into this center. Okay, so now we're going to work around the second row to the back again. Okay, we're back to the first increase, so I've got 2 white and 1 gray here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work into the center, but this time I'm going to put the opposite color. So instead of 2 white and 1 gray, I'm going to do 1 white and then 2 gray, all into this center of the increase. Okay, and that's the second increase. It's a little warbly around here, but I think we can correct it. And now we're going to work, but I wish I'd made this one gray, would look better. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, and then work back around to here. Okay, so I've come back around. So there's my first increase, my second row of increase. I have worked the center stitch on this row, and now I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a chain from here, and then I'm going to pick up this center stitch. I have chained 9. You can do a couple more or a couple less if you need to. I did 9 because it will give me a multiple of 6 stitches with just the white here. I have attached to the white. I'm here. You can see I left the gray behind on that side. So I'm now ready to just go around with no increase, no decrease, and do the leg. But I'm going to pause first and see if I can clean this up a little bit. So I have my length of yarn on a needle, and I've just attached it onto here. I actually took back the chain to open it up so I could work. I'll do that back up when I'm done. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to work my way in and out and try to work down these corners so this is a straighter line. I'll go up, across, and then down the back, and then I'll do the same thing with the gray, I think. Just kind of soften these corners as much as I can. So this is the one kind of sticking out. I'm just going to pull this. It's basically just a duplicate stitch of the other color, so that half of that stitch is white. It's not perfect, but it will soften the corners a little bit. You can see it a little bit here. Doesn't make a huge difference, but it helps. The front does look better. Okay, so you can see the line looks better. You can see some of the stitches here that I did. Straighten it out. Also, the color that I carried, the white here and the gray here, is really hidden better than I thought it would be. So I'm happy with that. So I've reattached my chain across, and I'm here. So now I'm just going to go work around and around, no increase, no decrease, until I get a good foot length, and then I will close it up. All right, so I have just finished my 6th row on the leg. It's not very much, but I'm actually going to go ahead and close this up. I'm going to decrease 6 stitches every row until I am down to 12 stitches, and I will cinch it up because it's only a few rows here. Because this circle is so big, I can do a flat circle, but once it's hugged and loved and squeezed, that will round out the foot like that. So that's the first foot all finished up. So now I'm going to attach, actually no, my gray is still attached, isn't it? Find the end here, and I'll just make a loop, and I will start crocheting it around, pick up the other side of that chain, and do the same thing for this, 7 rows, and then close it up. So I finished the 7 rows. There's gray leg. I'm going to stuff him up. Make sure all of your loose ends inside are secured first, and then we will stuff him up and then decrease and finish his foot. Okay, now for the arms. I'm going to take the gray, magic circle, 6 stitches, Gonna make a flat circle, same as the beginning, increase 6 stitches every row. I've done 6 rows, so I have 36 stitches around. And now I'm going to just start going around with no increase, no decrease. So this is the hand, and now we're gonna do the arm. I've done 8 rows on the side, so I've got 6 rows here. This is just the tail to mark, and then 8 rows here. So I'm going to cut this with some extra length and stuff it and sew it onto the side of the body. Okay, there's one arm. Why is his head so wonky? I don't know what happened there. Maybe I stuffed it wrong. I don't know. Let's put on the other arm. Okay, so I'll probably put this at the end, but I wanted to show you while I have the good lighting. So you can probably see this white is very different from this white. And I had a little bit of a panic attack last night when I realized that. So this one I believe is antique white. I bought this, these are Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. I believe this is the antique white. And this one is regular white. And I had this part and I panicked. But then once I finished the foot, I realized it's because of the gray running inside this. So if you are going to do this and do with this, I would suggest using a white, crisp like a snow white for the head and this part and the arm. And I would actually use an antique white, which has a slight yellow tinge to it, for this body part, because I think that little bit of yellow from the antique white will help cancel out the little bit of shade change from having the cool gray inside of it. Now, I'm not going to beat myself up about it because it's not something I could have thought of beforehand, but if you choose to do this one, I would think about trying that. So do like the cool white on the head and the foot and the arm, and then do like a slightly off white, a warm like an ivory, or for this brand it's antique white for the body. So close. I have to put it away though because it's her birthday present and she's gonna be up soon. So I will finish the other arm tonight before bed. So I got his other arm on and Van is done. Not gonna lie, it's a little emotional. I can say for sure I'm glad that I saved the easy one for last. Nice and plump. This line came out fairly straight. That's it.